Playing fast wins chess games. I'm going to show you 3 games I played today and how I won I won 2 of them and I lost the first one because of people playing fast. And the remedy to this, I think, is playing 15-minute games. But let me show you. It doesn't matter if you make mistakes. Look at this. This is 4 moves in the queen's pawn opening, Blackmore, Dimer, Vienna, Polish attack. Of course, everyone knows that, right? My opponent, I thought, knew all the moves. I thought this was like a king's gambit thing. I don't know. And I thought, oh, I'm losing because I don't know how to play against this. So I took my time thinking about every move. And I was playing the best moves until here. I should have developed my knight, protecting this other knight, and continuing the game. I was scared of this pawn move. Anyway, the game continues, and you can see my opponent played in 9 seconds, played 6 moves. 2 of them weren't even the best moves, so they didn't know what they were doing, right? And I don't know what I was doing. Or maybe they knew and I just went out of theory. Whatever, the game turns into this, and I think, oh, it's okay. We go here, and I'm thinking, I'm a pawn up. I expected him to castle here, he didn't. At this point, I finally realized my opponent made a mistake. But look at the time difference. I have 6.5 minutes. My opponent has 8 minutes, 22 seconds. Okay? I developed this knight. I considered putting the rook here so I could bring the king back. But I thought after this looks like an awkward position to be in. He could even grab this pawn. He could bring some knight closer. So instead of that, I developed my knight. That should have been developed a while ago, which wasn't the best move. My opponent checks, and I blunder. I should have gone backwards. I actually considered going backwards as well. I blundered because I blundered this pawn, but I thought going backwards was just very scary looking. I block in my rook, but maybe it would have been able to come out this way. Whatever. I come out, the bishop comes out, I finally take, and I think it was very good to pin this knight, because that would have been a very annoying knight to come into the position. I bring the bishop to try to trade, and I do this purposefully, expecting the pawn move. Like, I feel like I was so smart in the way I thought sometimes in some of this game. Purposefully moving it away so the bishop is blocked and can't take the pawn. The mistake I had is I could have rerouted the bishop to attack the knight, which is just makes so much sense. I mean, I would help him move forward, which is maybe why I kind of just ignored that. But if he moved forward, maybe I could come here. Maybe I could come here, target the bishop, or the pawn, really. So I didn't do that. I bring the bishop here. And now the game turns into losing. I'm way too passive. And I play this knight move 1 turn too late. Anyway, he brings the bishop back to safety. I bring the rook. We trade. I should have brought in my rook. That makes a lot of sense. If I brought in my rook, I would stop the bishop from coming in, because I saw this attack on my rook. And at this point, I have 1 minute 43 seconds on the clock. My opponent has 5.5 minutes. Very frustrating, right? He pushes the knight forward, which I think was a bad move, because it allows me to trade and simplify the game. And here I take control of this. I was scared that he might take control and kind of threaten some stuff. He takes my rook, I take back, he checks, and I go back. And I think, I'm pretty good here. And I was winning, because I'm up a pawn. But I didn't know how to, and I pushed this pawn so there are no problems on the light squares. I didn't know what to do here. I had no idea. I considered this move, I think, at a point, but I'm an idiot, and I didn't do it. That's such a good move. Why wouldn't I do that move? Anyway, I had 1.5 minutes, that's why. And I was freaking out. 1 minute and 17 seconds, and I didn't see this check. And that's it. Like, the game started falling apart. I just moved back and forth with my king, and I should have seen the rook coming up and around, even maybe taking the pawns later on. I still had a chance, but I had 35 seconds, 18 seconds. I had to get rid of my rook, and I ran out of time here. What did I learn from that? I learned that playing fast might actually win you games. I didn't want to play fast. I don't like playing fast. I want to think through my decisions, which is why, again, in the future, I'm going to start playing 15-minute games again, hopefully. But I decided to do that. Look at this game. 10 inaccuracies, 1 blunder. My opponent made 3 blunders, right? You're not playing the best games in this manner, but you could grab Elo on your way there. So here we go into the fantasy variation of the Caro-Kann, and I don't remember the best way to actually go through this. I just don't. Usually, this is a theme I've been seeing a lot in a lot of different openings. If a knight develops to f6, a lot of times you could push a center pawn to attack it. And it's not like ruining what's going on there. So here we see all this stuff going on, and I blunder a pawn, and I allow his knight to get in, and the game looks really bad. And I know I'm on the defensive, it doesn't look that good, and I'm just making inaccurate after inaccurate moves, trying to reroute pieces. But look, I have 7 minutes and 30 seconds. My opponent has 5 minutes. So I'm playing a clock game. And I purposefully reroute my knight here to defend the oncoming onslaught, because I'm expecting a knight sacrifice for the queen to get into the position, and then maybe the bishop, and then I get checkmated or something. So that was my purpose of bringing the knight around. And then I blunder. This looks like an obvious move in hindsight. It stops the pawn from pushing forward. But I bring my knight to attack the queen, and the second I do that, I realize it's a blunder. It's a blunder because, in my opinion, I don't know if this is the best move. And now, actually, I see something that counters that, maybe. But I thought this move is just very strong. I didn't know what I would do after this. Apparently, I have this move. I don't know how I missed that. But anyway, he moves backwards instead. I bring a bishop. I move my king to the side just to stop any annoying checks like this. And then I bring my queen here, threatening checkmate. So I realized here that actually his best move would probably be just to push this. And then I'm losing the knight, right? I take the pawn, but I lose the knight. But he panics. Listen, my opponent, 3 minutes, 28 seconds. I have almost 7 minutes still. And I see that the second if he does this move, right? You shouldn't think about ifs in chess. You shouldn't be like, I hope my opponent does that. You should look for the best move and try to counter your opponent's best move, right? But I thought, oh, if he does that, I can bring my queen, force a trade, and get my knight out of danger. If he doesn't go for the trade, maybe it could be something different, right? Because I don't think he needs to go for the trade. He could just keep the pressure on my knight because it is trapped. And, I might want to bring it here, but if he has a knight covering this square. So if he just comes somewhere like this, then he still covers it. I come here, I lose, right? It's still very tricky. I can take here, he can take back. Yeah, his king is open, but... Oh, actually, no, that would have saved me, because then the knight would have a place to go in. Anyway, he took, I took, he took, I took. Then he blunders. He blunders a pawn. I think his purpose for this was... So essentially, well, I forgot. During the game, I remembered. He wanted to get a check on me at a certain point. Or this, right? This check looked annoying. I wanted to come up to prevent it, but I can't because the knight watches there, right? So this is what happens. He brings a rook, and I move my king out of any potential checks. Brings a rook. I bring my rook, so I get on the 7th rank. Then he moves his knight. I take a free pawn because I calculate that, okay, this is a threat, but... I have this move. And this move also stops the knight from taking. And I feel like I'm trapping the knight soon if he pushes in. He does push in, allowing me to check just to move my king and attack the rook. After that, I come back, attacking the knight. He takes. And here I realize I trapped the knight. Which I did. And at this point, it's not that I won the game. Still iffy. But my opponent has 33 seconds. I have 5 minutes and 24 seconds. My opponent has, so many minutes on the clock, and I don't need to play the best moves here. I just need to play decent moves, which is what I do, and my opponent starts blundering much more often. I don't find a good way to break into the position. This would have simplified everything. Still a little bit tricky, because he does have 2 pawns, so I can't just sack the pawn and push my pawns. But, it's definitely winning, and I could see that. I just see that I have to be a little trickier. And I'm still applying time pressure, A lot of people who play like this, I usually don't, but because I lost the first game, I was a little frustrated. I started playing like this. I started applying the time pressure, meaning that I didn't spend my 5 minutes to actually think. Right? And I would say this a lot of times if I beat someone who's trying to apply time pressure to me, I'm like, they have so many minutes to think. Why don't they think? The purpose is to apply that pressure to your opponent, right? So that they're making moves hastily also, and you're trying to flag them essentially. So I bring my knight here. He blunders because I have this fork, which I miss a lot in endgames. Obviously, I'm playing fast here on purpose. And then I finally see it. I take his rook, and he resigns with 12 seconds. The third game here, I have a brilliant move. We go into the Scotch opening, which I know. And this knight move looks really, 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 really weird to me. Because as white, I know this opening. And typically it goes like this. The bishop comes to defend. There's a lot of tension. The queen comes to defend. The pawn defends. The knight protects this, defends that. The bishop comes up, applying pressure here, and both sides castle. And, you know, there's going to be an attack like that. And that's kind of how the Scotch classical variation goes, from my understanding, right? So I actually know this opening well enough. I used to play it as white all the time. So I come here, and he makes this knight move, and I'm like, that looks super weird. Is this some, like, prep? You know? And my opponent is playing fast, you see? They're doing the time pressure kind of strat to me. So I attack the knight, and then I realize I kind of blundered, because this looks a little annoying. Apparently, I could have just attacked here. And I guess the purpose is if he takes this pawn with check, which looks annoying, I come here, and his knight is close to being trapped. I'm assuming it gets trapped, maybe like this. It looks very tricky. You know, I'm not sure what the best things here to do are. I didn't really analyze this much, but the engine says come here, this protects. Actually, that doesn't protect. Like, what if he takes here? Ah, you have this move. You have the rook coming in. Okay, so basically you have really quick development, right? So even though he gets the pawn, you have really good and quick development. When he pushes his knight away instead of coming forward, I don't know, it seemed a little weird to me. It seemed too passive. And forward wasn't the right move, but it was passive. I start developing, and this bishop's actually kind of annoying. And I kind of saw this move to target the bishop and get it out of the way, but I didn't play it. I don't know why. I thought it was not that good. I went to the center. And this stuff happens. Oh my god. Again, I didn't analyze this game. I considered this move. I legit considered this move. Because if he takes, I thought I could do something crazy. Apparently, I just keep pressuring. Wow. That's a hard move to see. And this is winning. That is very cool. Oh, because I also block in the bishop, maybe? I see. I think it's because of this. Check. Takes, push. If he takes, I have this. No. I have this. No. To win the bishop? Okay, I have this. And now I could probably do that. Yeah, and then I win this. I win it with check, allowing me to get the knight, possibly. Well, whatever. I have this incredible pressure, right? And then my other knight could probably come in. Anyway, I don't do that. The game is pretty even. And you could see the time difference has changed. Now I have 7 minutes, 52 seconds. My opponent has 7 minutes, 14 seconds. So I'm the one applying pressure, where my opponent probably is used to applying pressure. And here, what made him think a lot was I decided to allow him to take, to have this discovered attack on the queen, which I didn't think was like that amazing, but it was scary enough for him to think and move his queen to the side. We start developing, and I'm looking for ways I could take advantage of this, right? He hasn't castled yet, which seems super weird to me. I don't understand it. Now I bring my rook here with plans to attack this. Check, takes, check, and I pick up the knight. Surprisingly, he falls for it. He doesn't castle. I'm like, how do you not castle by now? And I come in with the brilliant move. And my idea exactly works. He's supposed to move aside. I take his rook, but that's hard to do, right? Especially when you're playing super fast. So he spends 4 seconds, takes. I go in with the check, and I pick up the knight. And now I'm going for trades because I'm up a piece, essentially. And I saw this move, and that's why he moved the king aside. But I thought, what do I do after that? So I decided, let me just double up. There are no threats here currently. Maybe he could have made one. But right now, I can pin his queen this way. So he plays 1 second move, he plays that, I take, and it's over, because after he takes, I take, and he has no way of winning this rook back, and I win. So that's how you can kind of take advantage of time pressure, especially if you have some intuitive feel of what the decent moves are in an opening that you're kind of familiar with. I think that's the best way to take advantage of time pressuring your opponent. So that's how playing fast could basically win you a chess game. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Say water in the comments if you watch this far. I really do appreciate that. And have a good day. Bye-bye.